You know when you breathe in? Yeah. Well, that woke me up. That was a newbie mistake. That could have been way worse. That really wouldn't have been good. Why'd you get sick at the gym? Pre-workout. I snorted it. What's up, YouTube? The guy with the biggest arms in the entire world, clearly right here. No, I have tiny arms, but I do have an arm workout for you, 25 minutes or less, depending on how much you rest. Really good workout, gonna burn you up, and a bunch of questions answered. Rico asked some really good questions. So we spoke about, should you go heavy weight, low rep, lightweight, higher rep? What's the best set rep scheme? Like, how do you know what muscles you should be training, how heavy, how much weight you should be using? So that was a really important discussion we had in the video. Any questions, let me know. Make sure you subscribe, like the video. Love you. Talk to you soon.
If you're someone who has to, like, let's say you have to work early in the morning, do you think it's a bad thing to take pre-workout at night at a time like this?
No, actually, it's a great question. No, it's not a bad thing to take pre-workout. You can use it in a way that will help you give you enough energy to do your workout. I used to look at pre-workout when I was a competitive powerlifter as a bad thing. For me, I was brought up in a competitive lifting world in which when you train, you wanted to stay as calm as possible. You didn't want to get super hyped up. It was looked at as an advantage to train in a calm, relaxed state, because when you finally went to competition and you were amped up and hyped and like really on, like, had a lot of caffeine or pre-workout, whatever, that was like superpowers. But if you get used to training at a very excited state, at like a very like hyped up, really energetic state, then it doesn't have as much of an impact when you compete. On the other hand, if you're not competing and you just want to go to the gym and get a workout in, you're super tired after a long day of work, I would say have some pre-workout. Like, if it's the choice between no pre-workout so you don't work out, or pre-workout so you do work out, I say pre-workout every time. It's just like, there's a no-brainer.
What's like a maximum amount of milligrams of caffeine someone should not go over then if they're going to at night?
It's on a very individual basis. Some people metabolize caffeine very quickly, and some people metabolize caffeine very slowly. If you're the kind of person who will feel a sort of a caffeine spike 6, 7, 8 hours after you drink a cup of coffee, I wouldn't do it. Because you'll be up all night. In which case, I would either try and find something much more mild, or try and find something that doesn't have caffeine. For example, you could use beta-alanine. Beta-alanine is a supplement that it helps with endurance. It does give you a little bit more energy. It's not like creatine. Creatine is more strength-based, so for more like the heavier work. Beta-alanine is more for like the 12 to 20 repetition range, but it does give you a little bit more energy. The major drawback of beta-alanine, and this is why I don't take it, it makes you tingle. Like, some people feel it in their arms. I always feel my lips, and sometimes my face tingles. It's totally safe. There's actually a lot of performance enhancing benefits to it. If caffeine is an issue for you, beta-alanine might be a really good option if you have to work out at night. Sneaky shit where he films me and I don't know I'm getting fucking filmed. And then he's like, hey, go check out the vlog. And I'm like, I didn't know you fucking filmed that part. Like the part in the casino where I was like, this is like a video game where you're just losing fucking money. I didn't realize you were filming it.
Snapping a pic of us?
Yeah, of course.
Cool. Thank you.
Do you want it this way or that way?
Can we stand on the platform?
Absolutely.
Sorry to kick you out.
No, honestly, this makes me super happy. You want up and down or?
Everybody get in. Ooh, someone has bubble gum.
I don't speak picture. Is it this way or that way? Sideways. Got it. On 3. Say Abel's butt. On 3. 1, 2, 3. Abel's butt. Love it. Absolutely. Leaving?
Yeah, in the morning.
Why are you leaving?
So listen, I'm not
no
Superman
bet.
like you. I'm not Superman like you. I need sleep, and I'm also still like recovering.
Hey, bet. Yo, come here. Explain bet again, because we had a little disagreement.
Okay.
What is bet? Explain bet.
Yeah, explain when you say I bet, what does that mean?
I'm agreeing with you. When I say I bet, like,
It's an agreement.
it's an agreement. So if you say, hey, bro, you trying to get a workout in today? I'm like, yeah, what time? You tell me like, oh, let's do like 7:30 at night, 8:30
Bet.
at night. All right, bet. I'll meet you there.
Got it. So it's not like a challenge. It's like an agreement.
Exactly.
Got it.
But it could be a challenge, no?
Yeah, it could be.
Someone's like,
Yeah.
yo,
Oh, let's
hit
squat heavy today. All right, bet.
Yeah.
Like, you think you
That's
do
an
that?
agreement.
No, but it's like,
But it's how the tone in which you say it. Hey, you want to squat today? Bet.
He's like,
Bet.
all right, bet, yeah. Oh, it's like I made it on my, yeah, it could work.
I bet.
I'm considering it, and it sounds right. All right, bet. Basically, I'm agreeing with you. That's
Got
all
it.
it is.
if your arms fully extended out,
Yep.
like, isn't it better like that, and then kind of reflects the tricep because then you're stretching out your bicep?
100% right. This first movement, I'm pre-fatiguing it. I'm not too worried about like perfect form. I'm not too worried about that. The main thing is just feeling it. That's the most important thing. So I feel Zottman's the best when I do that. Like the way, and everyone feels movements. I know some people who feel it best with their elbows out here. I know some people who feel it best with their hammer curls. Some people feel best like this. It always depends. For me, Zottman's, I like starting with them because I get a lot of activation and it's not too worried about like being like prissy and perfect with technique. Light them up, make sure you're using them really well, then go into your next movement, and that's when you really make sure you're using perfect form. That being said, even with bicep curls, I really don't like to always lock out my joints completely. I'm not a big fan of just coming down and completely locking it out. In the same way when I'm squatting, I'm not a big fan of completely locking out my knees. I like keeping soft joints just because it's a little bit easier on them, it's less wear and tear. Also, when you go from here to like completely locked out on the joint, you end up taking tension off the muscle. So there's a benefit to keeping a slight tension on it. In the same way, like at the other end, if you're doing a chin up, for example, or even we'll do bicep curl, you come up here, past a certain range, you're gonna lose tension. And so you see a lot of people, they'll cheat with curls when they come all the way up, and they'll use this as some rest, because they can hold it here, they can come all the way up. Downtime, you're not really working the bicep here. As soon as you come back to here, that's when you start working it again. So keeping some slight tension on it throughout helps. Basically, if you're doing a workout that's focused on really making sure that you want to strengthen an individual muscle group, it's not like deadlifts. When you're training a movement, you don't need a pre-fatigue. When you're training a muscle, it helps to pre-fatigue. So actually, when I'm training a movement, I prefer to start off with more of what's called a neural priming, which is more like to get more explosive. So for example, if I'm training a movement like a deadlift, I might start off with a kettlebell swing or a broad jump to get more explosive and powerful. In the same way, you see a baseball, like in baseball, they'll like load up the bat with a donut on it so it's like heavier, and when they take the donut off, they swing wicked fast. Same thing. You start off so that like you build up that neural priming, the connection between your brain and your muscles, so you're more explosive. That's when you're training a movement. When you're more muscle-based, that's when it's like, hey, it makes sense to lower the weight, focus on really feeling them do the work, isolate those, make sure I'm not using my traps, make sure I'm not using my shoulders, and then you can go into the rest of the workout. This is a tricep extension. I call it Jack and the Beanstalk. I don't know why I call it that. Why the fuck do I call it that? A gym I used to train at, someone else must have named it that, and we just all called it Jack and the Beanstalk. It's a brutal tricep extension. I'll explain it after this set. So it's actually the difference between what's called a closed chain movement and an open chain movement. An open chain movement is when, like a bench press, right? A bench press is open chain. Your extremities are moving. They have like a moving part. They don't draw stability from it. A push-up would be a closed chain movement because you're drawing stability from the floor. So the floor isn't moving, whereas the bench press, the bar is moving. This is a closed chain version of a skull crusher, whereas instead of lying on the bench and having to control the bar like this, now the bar is stable, it's not moving, and your body is moving. And so it's not better or worse, neither one is right or wrong. It's another variation. I like this one because a couple reasons. Number one, I can change the load throughout the set. If I really want to put more weight on my triceps, I can just change my foot position to either make it easier or harder. I don't have to worry about taking weight off the bar. I can just keep going by how I feel. The second reason is it's safer. Skull crusher, people end up dropping it on their face, dropping it on their neck. Like they fail here and it's a big issue. With this, if you fail, if you can't do another one, you just come to your knee. So I do like this one just from safety and ease of modification. It's a loaded question. No, because there are a lot of ways to train your arms. And there's so many varieties. There's so many different training styles. There's like so many different styles of sets and reps and different schemes and frequencies and intensities and all that nerd shit. Two different training styles. Either lift really heavy, low repetition, or relatively light and higher repetition. That's how most people pose the question. I get in my DMs all the time. Should I lift heavy low weight or lightweight high rep? It's not either or. A combination of the both is going to give you the best results. What most people need to understand, and this is really the key, when you're training a movement, squats, deadlifts, bench press, chin-ups, overhead press, a movement, the base of that movement is going to be heavier weight, lower rep. And that could be anywhere between like really heavy for 1 rep or all the way up to like 6 to 8 reps even. It's not like only 1 or 2 or 3, it's not such a narrow range. When you're training a movement, you have much more leeway to train very heavy because a movement isn't just one muscle. Deadlifts, hamstrings, glutes, erectors, core, upper back, lats, everything. Bench press, pecs, shoulders, triceps. It's a multitude of muscle groups coming together to train a movement. When you're training an individual muscle, pecs, arms, shoulders, glutes, then it makes sense to really build that muscle individually and you can use more volume. It doesn't make sense to try and train your pec like max effort. You wouldn't try and do 1 rep here. Essentially, when you're training a muscle, you're strengthening the muscle with more volume isolated to that muscle. Lower weight, higher rep. Then that will help build the muscular strength. So in combination, pecs, shoulders, triceps, when you go to your bench press, you can then use all of those individual muscles together to strengthen the movement with heavier weight, lower reps. So it's a combination of heavy weight, low reps, and lighter-ish weights, higher reps. Done.